Welcome to Deucecast Extra. I'm excited to be back on Tuesdays. Tuesdays are really a better night for me, so
It's
I'm
better.
glad
It's
to be
better
back
for all
on
of us.
Tuesdays. I was just we finally got the X premium strike, so we are no longer broadcasting on X. I apologize for all our many viewers that were seeing us on X. They finally said we cannot broadcast on there anymore. So I may try and figure out how to broadcast on Facebook, and at least do two places. I'll have to research on how to do all of that. But we are at least live on YouTube. I pay YouTube Premium, so they better dang well let me broadcast on YouTube. I'm excited to be here on a Tuesday. This may be the best, for me at least, the best extra that we've ever done, because it's the last time I have to talk about Acolyte. So I'm excited for that aspect of things. As you can see, we're one person short. I did not hear either way if Roth is joining us. I hope he does join us, because maybe he'll share some exciting news with our viewers. But otherwise, we've got the normal crew. We've got Brian, Dr. Earl, Garrison, and myself. We will, of course, be talking about the season finale of The Acolyte. So, first, though, our normal process must continue. Brian, how did you extra these last 2 weeks?
Oh, 2 whole
But you
weeks.
only get one. No, you can. Okay, let's say because it's been 2 weeks, you can have 2 extras if you want. If you want to do
a
double extra, if you want. Yeah, double portion.
Double portions of extras. Well, I'm almost done with The Bear. I've got maybe 3 or 4 more episodes, and I'm finished all 3 seasons of The Bear. So I was.
Before we continue,
be careful. But okay.
No. Season 1 and 2. Do you
No
like
spoilers,
that better
no
before the
spoilers.
third one? You like that better than the third season so far? Season 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'll say that.
I'm the same. I think that's the sentiment. I'm the same way. Season 3 has a lot of good stuff in it, but season 1 and 2, man, that's some of the best television.
The transition from 1 to 2, it's like I didn't see what they were going to do with this, or
right.
When he opens the can of tomato sauce, and I was like,
no spoilers, no spoilers.
I was sitting on the airplane like this. I mean, I was freaking out.
I was too when I first saw that. I was like,
so
yes.
Good. Okay, so then, my second portion of extra was Miss Laura and I watched another Godzilla movie. So we're up to Godzilla versus Kong.
Okay, so you're going through what I would call the legendary Godzilla films,
right? All the Monarch,
all the
legendary stuff, and with a very sprinkling of Monarch. This is the second film with Millie Bobby Brown. I thought she was much better in this movie.
I agree. I thought she was better in that one also.
Yep, and the story was a little bit thinner in this movie, but it was a lot more action. And I'm not really all that familiar with Godzilla, other than it's part of the culture, and it's like, oh, I know Mothra, and I know Kong, and it was I didn't really understand how they were going to get to Mechazilla, and that's my name, Mecha Yoda tonight. But it was really, really, really good. We've had the home theater cranked up to like 11, and I was like, wow, it was like so loud in our house. It was good.
Well, I mean, you're privileged to be on a show with a Godzilla expert, because Garrison is a Godzilla expert. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he has seen. Garrison, have you seen all of them?
No, I haven't seen all of them. But
yes.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That being said, I've got every Godzilla movie that's ever come out.
Wow.
Man.
I haven't watched them all though.
You're still working your way through them.
I'm working my way through them. So
how many are there? We know.
There are a lot.
Okay, all right.
The good news is Asylum Films hasn't gotten its hands on Godzilla licensing. So that's the good news.
For a while there in the 60s and 70s, they were putting out one every year or every 2 years.
Wow.
I mean, just churning them out.
My only question I have for the Godzilla expert is the FX in these new legendary movies is just off the chain.
It is.
Like, how much money do they pour into those movies compared to like a Marvel movie? I mean, it just seems so immense.
Probably on par, right?
About the same. They don't pay for the stars like Marvel does.
Yeah.
Millie Bobby Brown's paycheck is not as big. Brian Tyree Henry's paycheck is not that big.
FX budget has got to be where it's all going. I mean,
the special effects budget.
Brie Larson was in Kong Skull Island before she would have commanded a bigger paycheck.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Maybe we'll add that. I'll go back and watch that.
Good thing with Kong Skull Island, it's a prequel, so it's not going to mess up, your viewing order.
That was,
but it is. I would highly
that,
recommend it. It may be my favorite out of all of them, really, out of all the legendary ones.
You got some good actors.
It might be my second.
Yeah, it's good. It's worth watching for sure, and it'll help you because you've seen Monarch. It'll help you with Monarch too, because there's a character in that movie that was also in Monarch. But
I didn't know that. I haven't watched Monarch yet.
I will report back.
I don't think I've seen Monarch.
Well, it's just a brief cameo, but
Monarch was really good, guys, on Max, I believe, or I'm sorry, Apple Plus.
Apple TV Plus. Yeah. Who will not be having shows that expensive for much longer. They finally found out that maybe streaming is not profitable.
They were like, "Man, we lost $20 billion. Maybe
a little bit of
stop doing this."
Even for Apple, it hurts a little bit. Well, Garrison, I want to guess that you're going to extra by saying that you got the new football game, but maybe that's not you've got two extras, so go ahead.
So I've got two, Mikey, and that was not going to be my extra until you introduced that. I was going to mention it. It's going to be my little mini extra. It's College Football 25. I've been playing it. Excellent game.
Oh wow!
It's great to have this game back. This is a steelbook copy.
I was going to say that looks like a premium copy.
If you pre-ordered it from Walmart, they give you a steelbook with the original PS5 case, which is in my thing over there.
Nice.
I have been playing it. I've not been playing it as much as Rhett. I've seen his hours on the PS5. He's like over double my hours.
Oh my!
Yes, he is.
But I've tried to work it in at night for 30 minutes to an hour here or there, and it's been really fun.
That's very disciplined of you. Thank you.
It is difficult. It is not an easy game to get into. I sat here and I still have my Xbox 360 with my NCAA 14, the last game that was released college football wise, and that kept getting updates because people would make custom rosters that you could download and keep updating the game year over year. Now people are stopped. They're not doing that anymore because we got the new game. But I went and I played a whole season a week or two ago, and I was like, man, I'm so good at this game. I'm going to be so good at College Football 25. It's a humbling experience playing College Football 25 for the first time. You think you're going to be able to do things you were able to do on the older game, and you are not.
Nice.
Some of the same routes aren't as
okay.
They aren't as lethal. Like you look, NCAA 14. Just speaking to the crowd here, you could run slant plays, and the slant would be open. I mean, it'd be open almost every time. At some point in the route. College Football 25, you have to have it against the right defense. I mean, you have to actually sort of know what you're doing at times.
You got to step up the game, man. You got
the last football game I played was Tecmo Bowl. Is it like that? Is it like Tecmo Bowl at all?
I have played Tecmo Bowl.
I was ColecoVision.
Mine was the Coleco.
Yeah, that was my last football game.
My actual extra. As you know, I'm not a big soccer person.
Mm-hmm.
I still really am not that into soccer, but I have watched almost all 3 seasons now of Welcome to Wrexham.
Oh wow,
which is a brilliant.
Irish, great show.
I need to watch that show.
I haven't seen it either, and I'm a huge soccer fan.
I know.
Where's it streaming right now? Is it
Hulu? It actually is on Hulu.
Yeah, it is actually a Hulu show.
It's FX.
Sorry, Earl.
It's just a great, like, yes, there's a sport element of it, and I love seeing the fans so passionate about their game,
and they
love so much. And it's a Welsh team. It's not an English team even. It's a Welsh team. But they play in the English Football League. It's fascinating to learn about
reclamation, or what's the
I know what you're talking about, where they go down.
Oh, you're talking about relegation.
Relegation.
Yeah.
So Wrexham had been relegated all the way down to like the lowest level of English football, and this show is about Ryan and Rob McElhenney
trying
buying
to get
the
it
team
back up.
trying to pump them back up. And right now in real life, they're in like League One.
2 leagues behind now, right?
They're right behind the Championship League or whatever.
Oh, really?
League One. That's League One.
Oh,
they're in League One.
Okay, yeah.
So they're working their way back up. Wow.
So the Championship League is here, and then you got the Premier League. So they're
it's
pretty close to being Championship, which is kind of crazy. They used to be in the Championship League as a like a mainstay team way back in the day, apparently.
Okay.
So I think
relegation.
Obviously, they'll say Premier League is the goal, and it will always be the goal. But Championship League to me is incredible. I mean, at that point,
that's impressive to even get to that point. I mean.
And there's a lot of I love it because there's a lot of episodes that are human interest where it focuses on a fan and just their struggles and the town struggles, and it's not always about the game. But then when it cuts back to the games and you get to see the close losses or the close wins, it just shows the highlights, and that I enjoy because I like watching players kick goals. I don't enjoy watching the back and forth of back and forth and back and forth.
It's so good.
Garrison, there's a TV show on the BBC called Match of the Day, and every Saturday and Sunday, Match of the Day just shows all chances, goals, and
so it's like Red Zone. It's like our Red Zone.
Yeah, it's like Red Zone for soccer. Yeah,
Red Zone for soccer. Yeah,
Match of the Day, highly recommended.
So Brian, since you're a soccer expert, why would this system not translate into American soccer?
I think so. The soccer teams are like a federation, and they're owned by corporations like the Saudis who own
over there,
over in the UK, even in the USA.
Well, in the US now too,
MLS, So where a football team is a franchise and they participate in this system. So like I've always joked about the Cleveland Browns being kicked out of the league. And
I'm just talking about like why it wouldn't work. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Why wouldn't it work for MLS and USFL? Like, why couldn't we not adopt the relegation system for our soccer here in the United States? Is there just not enough teams? Or?
We could. There are enough teams, but we could. But the primary reason is because our soccer teams are franchises as well. So they would never agree to it's like
to hurt their brand like that.
Yeah,
they would never agree to allow like the
like you would never want to see Inter Miami get relegated, basically, if they did super bad for one season.
They would never.
I think that adds such an element of intrigue to what's going on over there with EPL, Champions League, and below. I mean,
it's a cool, unique aspect of the sport for sure.
It is.
It puts a lot of pressure on the team. Right?
And it should. That's what makes it kind of fun when you're watching those bottom teams in the EPL try and fight for those last spots at the end of the season. It's pretty awesome, actually.
It's very much merit based too, right? Like if you don't win, you don't stay in.
So it's like perfect meritocracy. I mean, that's the way it kind of should be. Yeah, I don't think that could ever work with the NFL, but I would love to see that with the MLS and USFL, and then there's the league below. There's USFL 2, and it could work. I mean,
MLS next.
You have to have enough.
They have a soccer league called the USFL.
Yeah, it's
no, you're talking about football. USFL
I might be saying that backwards.
I was about to say like
USLF maybe. It is something. It's a 4-letter acronym.
I don't even know that.
I know
it's
USFL
Birmingham's team. Birmingham's team is part of that. I mean,
the Legion.
Yeah, the Legion is,
but not the Stallions, who are a part of it.
No, not the football team.
It is USFL, but I don't know.
Well, we could do football that way too. I don't think they have deep benches of leagues below, but
right. And the other thing, like soccer has like academies and like where they take kids who are like 9 years old and they put them.
ULSF? Hold on.
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Maybe it's the Champions League. US. I don't know what it is.
We're losing our Acolyte viewers.
Dr. Earl. Oh, did you ever get to your second, Garrison? Did you ever get to your second?
My
extra?
second was Wrexham, which I
really
welcome
recommend. To Wrexham. Yeah,
it's awesome.
If you've got Hulu, see, Earl's the only person in the United States that doesn't have Hulu. No, I'm sure there's a lot of people, but
it's just USL
and Disney Plus.
It's just USL. Okay,
yeah,
it's just USL.
United States League or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just USL, and then there's the USL 2.
By the way, I can get free Legion tickets from time to time. So if we ever want to go to a game,
box tickets,
Oh, I don't know about box tickets. It's probably like out in the elements.
You get like a free pretzel when you get a box ticket there.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on.
Well, Dr. Earl, what are your extras this week?
Well, I hate for mine always to be movies that I'm going to talk about in another.
I mean, if that's what you've done, then
yeah,
why not?
Well, I saw 2 good movies this weekend. I saw the big, what I'd call the quintessential popcorn movie, Twisters.
Yes.
Twisters was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought the 2 leads had good chemistry, Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar Jones, and the crews built around them were really fun and exciting. And then I also saw Young Woman in the Sea, and I really liked that.
You know what? I actually liked that movie too. I was surprised how much I liked that.
Disney Plus already?
Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus.
Huh. I missed
So
that.
I thought Daisy really did fine. I think the thing I just like the historical story about it.
Well, and it feels like a sports movie too.
It does. No, it's got
there's
the
that aspect of it
underdog
too that I liked. That it felt like a sports movie. So
and just that idea of swimming the channel is pretty intense. That whole scene. Go ahead.
How does it compare to Naiad?
So
I never saw Naiad. So
Naiad's a different dynamic, just because it's that's almost more about the relationship or the friendship that Jodie Foster's character and Annette Bening's character had. So whereas Young Woman in the Sea is more about her just doing this thing.
Yeah, it's very straightforward.
Very straightforward, crossing the English Channel, being the first woman to do that. There's been hundreds of people do it now, but back then she was the first woman to do it, and it was more of a formulaic sports film, I think, whereas Naiad was more of a character study.
Naiad kind of does the sports thing.
A little bit.
Going after this goal and constantly
I mean,
failing, and then
I
finally
felt
does it.
Naiad's like almost like an indie film version of a sports movie, though. I mean,
this felt to be like a very similar to The Boys in the Boat in a way to me.
Yeah,
I don't know. It
or
had that same
Seabiscuit.
vibe.
It's the classic, whatever classic Disney sports movie you can think of. It sort of has that formula in it, where you're watching her. Oh no, and I'm not saying I'm not saying anything about the quality of the film. I'm just saying that there's always the adversity, the getting through the adversity, getting to the goal. I mean, there's always that
pushback about doing it.
I mean,
do it.
And this,
I liked it a lot.
This had the added element of it being a period piece, and so I mean, you have all the anti-woman stuff that was going on at the time. I mean, just where the U.S. Olympic team, they brought women to the Olympics, but they wouldn't give them training time. They wouldn't give. I mean, so it was kind of weird, like for them to pay for the women's swimming team to go participate in the Olympics, but not give them any time to train.
Yeah, they'd say, "Well, you can warm up when you do the competition."
Yeah, it was so weird. I was just like, "What?"
I heard a story today about in Wimbledon, like when women were first allowed to play in Wimbledon, it was very similar. Like they would lock them out of the locker room. It just wow.
And they were playing in full dresses back then, almost.
I'm sure.
It was interesting clothing.
Michael, how did you extra?
Oh yeah, I mean, my extras. I rewatched a film that I had not seen in many years, but of course I owned it on 4K, and so I rewatched Titanic, and man, I had forgotten how. Yes, there are cheesy moments in the film, but it is really well done.
We'll do the.
It's actually a legitimately good film, and even in 1998, the effects that Cameron was able to utilize it looked great on 4K. Like I have never seen that movie look better, which is the idea with 4K. I mean, I don't know if he tinkered with it and did any AI.
Is this the least he tinkered with something in terms of like did Disney oversee it instead of him?
It feels like that it was not tinkered with that much, but it certainly looks better than it's ever looked. I mean, but that's just the nature of the medium, though. I mean, 4K just looks gorgeous on pretty much, and it has the advantage of if it was shot on film, which I believe this was, then those always look better on 4K to me. If it was shot on film, you can do so much to make those like old black and white films look so sharp on 4K. This is in that boat, in that, no pun intended, in that area where, because it was shot on film, there's a lot you can do to make it just look really great on 4K.
I'm gonna divert the conversation real quick.
Okay.
Did you got any of you guys see the Jaws 3 or 4 screenshots of the 4K that's coming out with the AI?
No. Yeah, and that's a problem that's happening in
the AI
some
just
of
totally nuked the background of the film.
Yeah.
And here's the thing.
Or like Jaws, the first movie?
No, the third one.
The Revenge.
The third or fourth, or whatever it is. Yeah.
It's 3 and 4. I think it's both of them.
Yeah.
They totally nuked the background of the film. And here's the thing. I think it's okay to experiment with those kinds of things in the back rooms. Never release something like this if it's totally destroying your product.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Keep experimenting with this for 10 years, and maybe we'll get to a point where it's like, oh, this is pretty good. But also, I don't think you should be reducing grain with AI, and I think that's so stupid.
No, I agree with that.
The background.
Right. We do that with music, though, right? Like we put like grain in music, or they artificially put grain in film. But you're right. It just doesn't look right.
In fact, to your point, real quick, and then I'll let us get back. This is actually a Star Wars point. The Star Wars 4Ks, they were done by getting rid of the grain, but it wasn't done with AI. It was done with a different process that they did.
Right.
They got rid of the grain, and then they put like a static grain back on top of the films. This is a George thing. Whatever. It may have been a 3D thing where they thought it just worked better that way, because those were originally the 3D masters that he had done in 2012. But 2011 and 12. But yeah, it's kind of weird because a lot of people have pointed out like the grain doesn't move in some of the shots, and it's like it just kind of off.
Yeah.
I personally didn't know. I'm sure that Cameron, because he famously did that with some of his other stuff that has recently come out, like True Lies and The Abyss. There were some complaints about some of the AI tools that Cameron allowed to be used.
Oh boy.
I'm wondering if probably the same type of tools were used in Titanic, but it didn't take away from anything for me. Like I didn't notice it to the point where it affected my viewing of the film.
So the complaints were actually Aliens and True Lies.
Okay, so not Abyss.
The Abyss did use Aliens, but the Abyss did use it, but it used it well. I mean,
and that was in my opinion, maybe that's it used it well for Titanic. Then I mean, because I'm sure he used the same tools, but it looks good. I mean, it looks really, really good.
Right.
My other extra, just real quick, shout out to Jack White's new album. It is absolutely fantastic. Sort of harkening back to old White Stripes stuff. I freaking loved it. It's maybe so far my favorite album of the year, and this is a year that there was a Taylor Swift album released.
Oh my gosh!
But I think it's way better than Taylor Swift's album.
Don't push back against the Swifties.
Wow.
I know. I'm pushing back
the
against
Tortured Poets department, Mikey.
I know.
Our subscriber numbers are going down.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly. Rate. How dare I? So we are 23 minutes in, and we have yet to talk about the Acolyte, and that's by design because I'm just kidding. I do want to at least, get my data pad out here and honor the filmmakers and the creators of this show by at least mentioning.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like they at least deserve, some mention because they're the ones that we are likely going to skewer. But the title of the episode is The Acolyte, which I found to be interesting. This one was directed by Hanelle Culpepper, who actually is a pretty good television director if you look up some of the stuff that she's directed. And I actually have no problem at all with the way the episode was directed. I thought it looked pretty sharp. I mean, I thought it looked good. All the stuff that she was doing with the direction of it. Written by Jason McAuliffe, I believe. And staff writer, as always, throughout this whole season, Jasmine Flournoy. Of course, Leslie Headland has gotten the created by. She never got a writing credit, at least on IMDb, but she got a created by credit for 7 of the 8 episodes. I think she wrote the first episode. I'm not 100% sure what that's all about, but This particular episode, like I said, was called The Acolyte. The little log line that is on IMDb is past tragedies are revisited in the light of new truth, and a surprising choice leads the way to an uncertain future. That is the most...
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, but that is the most Twilight-sounding description of a Star Wars episode that I've ever heard. But let's go around the horn. I mean, we can also, since this is the season finale, maybe series finale, we don't know. We could talk about like your impressions through all 8 episodes, focusing a little bit more on the finale than the previous 7. But Brian, overall thoughts of the episode.
It's been 2 weeks since I saw this, and I think
that's my fault. I was at the beach. My bad.
And I was 100% not going to watch this again.
I'm the same way.
I did. I didn't watch the episode.
I went back and rewatched just a couple clips, and I was like, it was just like a train wreck. It's like I found it confusing. I found no reason for the motivation of the swap. It's like Freaky Friday Star Wars almost. It was just, and
like that.
For characters that I just did not care about, I found lack of motivation, and it made it even more confusing for me. So although it was the best out of the episodes I had seen, like I thought they somewhat tied things up, but it was just it was all over the place. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
Garrison, did you rewatch or just do one viewing?
I just watched it before we got on the call.
It's probably smart.
Finished it for the first time like 10 minutes before we got on.
So no urgency. In other words, no urgency to watch the season finale when it dropped 2 weeks ago.
There was, and then
until
we canceled a show.
Okay, my bad.
For a meandering 90-minute waste of time.
My bad.
Wow.
Oh my! Wow. Okay.
What?
Go ahead.
Tell us how you really feel.
The episode itself.
Yes.
I just sat there, kind of. I don't know. I wasn't mad. I wasn't upset.
Was it ennui?
I wasn't excited. Yeah, I mean, it might have been boredom.
Yeah.
I mean, just kind of sitting there like, okay, yeah, all these things are playing out exactly kind of how I figured at this point. And then, and then OSHA turns, which is probably what I didn't figure, but I had seen it all over social media by the time I watched the episode, to be quite honest with you. And people fighting over the bleeding of the lightsaber. I really couldn't care about that. I don't care.
It's the beating of the kyber crystal specifically that caused that.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw her hand touch it, and it turned red.
That's right, exactly. Because you can't bleed
unless
she couldn't have bled that saber without the kyber crystal being exposed like it was. So,
yes. Yeah. I really hate that this is as open-ended as it is, because I feel like they tease this as a story, and we really only get the story of what happened with the Coven. There's still clearly a lot of mystery in terms of the master and the apprentice with the green lady that I don't want to remember her name because I don't care about her.
Vanessa,
and Quymir.
I finally got it right.
Vanessa.
There's a lot of mystery there. And they introduce Yoda obviously right at the end, to pull you back. This is setting up for a second season.
Which they're not going to do it, right? I mean, they can't financially invest.
Not
that much money.
Studios make stupid decisions all the time, but
I just can't see Iger allowing it.
I would think they wouldn't, to be quite honest. Now,
I mean, it's not
let's
Willow
also
bad.
Remember, guys. Let's remember, guys. Andor has 2 seasons, and that has the worst ratings out of any Star Wars show that has come out.
But it was the best show.
So worst ratings, but maybe like critically acclaimed can make up for a lot.
Garrison doesn't love it, but
it can make up for a lot. No, I totally hear what you're saying. Like worst ratings from a viewer standpoint, but a critical acclaim can.
It started getting
the critical acclaim give you money. I don't. At a certain point, you got to start looking at this stuff and go. The difference is Andor was announced as like 3 or 5 seasons initially anyway, and then they were going to go do all those, and then they got cut down to 2, which is probably because the ratings weren't great anyway.
And it's wise too from a financial standpoint.
And sometimes those things are already in production when the first show comes out, right?
Yeah.
So maybe Tony Gilroy was able to get the.
He sounds like he's a good used car salesman, that's for sure. I mean, he definitely can talk the talk when it comes to.
A lot of guys in Hollywood are good used car salesmen.
Yeah, he can talk the talk. I mean, he's.
I'm gonna say this. I won't be surprised if it gets a season 2.
Yeah.
But I hope financially they start looking at this stuff. I mean, just what the shows this year. You got an Echo show that nobody really cared about, and you dumped all the episodes at once.
Right.
You got this show, which I think was the biggest premiere this year on Disney Plus because it's got no real competition.
Right.
Percy Jackson gained steam as it went along, and I enjoyed that, and I hope that season 2 is better.
Yeah.
And I hope it's better than the book because book 2 is my least favorite. But
spoiler alert.
It's not bad. It's just my least favorite. And then you got Agatha coming up this year. I mean, that's such a streaming brain move. I mean, it's like
but it was around.
Really popular.
It's one of those things before. I don't know. They started production.
It's one of the things. It's Wanda was big. WandaVision was big.
Sure.
And Agatha all along that segment of the show was a really cool moment that really took off online. And people really loved the character of Agatha in WandaVision.
Agatha all along.
We don't need an Agatha show that also is going to introduce one of Scarlet Witch's kids somehow in some way. They'll have to explain that. Yeah. And then you've got
Ex-Boy or something. Or
Wiccan. So Garrison, do you think the success of Percy Jackson was because it was a YA show, or?
Well, that property's pretty popular.
I think there's a lot of untapped potential with Percy Jackson is what it was. Look, I read the book, The Lightning Thief, when I was in 6th grade. I am now a 26-year-old adult. And that was a long time ago. So there's a huge fan base that's been built up over the years through that series. And I think it's just largely gone untapped due to a poor adaptations that were on film.
Yeah.
The first movie, it does some. When I was rewatching it, I was like, okay, for a film, I like that they kind of truncated this here and this here, but the rest of this kind of sucks because it doesn't get the point of the book.
Yeah.
But
I
think
don't want them to make a misstep.
Faithful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just don't want them to make a misstep and have the what's the Star Wars kids show that's coming out. It's not really. It could be kiddie like
Jedi Babies or
no, that's been out. That's been out.
Skeleton Crew.
Oh, you're talking about Skeleton Crew. Yeah.
The thing about Skeleton Crew is
I like the team behind that.
It's probably going to hit.
I like the people behind the camera. John Watts. I like him a lot. I think he is a very talented director. He also
Spider-Man guy. If you don't know who he is,
he did the recent Spider-Man trilogy. He also got Everything Everywhere All at Once guys to do some stuff behind the scenes. There were some other directors that were pretty big names. I'm blanking on them right now, but that's a show that I think could be a kind of surprise gaining steam hit if everything goes right.
Well, and it's kid friendly too, right? It's going to be kid friendly. So
supposedly,
right, and that's where I think the Acolyte was like a misstep, where they could have written it differently and had, Anyway,
I agree with Mikey that if Acolyte, and I feel like it was still my turn, so I should probably let it be Earl's. No, I should probably let it be Earl's turn at a certain point. But I do agree with Mikey that it feels like the Acolyte is trying to pander towards more like the Twilight crowd than than the general Star Wars crowd.
Interesting.
Yeah,
it's trying to branch out into Marvel does different genres, and so sometimes there's a project that maybe the genre isn't something that I love that much, and that may hurt my view of that that project. But I don't know.
And I think like the thing that has happened with Star Wars, and Earl, I'll let you go here in just a second, but I think the thing that
I've been
has
waiting
happened
40
with,
minutes to talk
I know. The thing that's happened with Star Wars is the shows have had diminishing returns. I mean, since really Book of Boba Fett. I mean, because a lot of people did not like Mando season 3. A lot of people did not like Ahsoka.
But see, even saying a lot of people didn't like Mando season 3, if you look at the ratings, it picked up steam as it went along. So that's still a deeply popular show. In terms of people still tune in and go, I want to watch that show. And a show can afford one bad season.
Sure.
It's when
well, now we're going straight to a movie with that, so we'll see how we'll see what happens. I mean,
but if their first season's bad, I think that's not a great sign.
Yeah. All right, Dr. Earl, the one who has really appreciated this show the most and taken in the most content to do with this show, Dr. Earl.
Well, that's probably true. I've watched a lot of different commentaries on this.
Right.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, for this, I do think it was the best paced of the episodes. This finale.
Oh,
that's fair. Yeah,
I think I thought the lightsaber battle between Kamir or the Stranger, if you want to call him that, and
at this point,
Saul was good. I thought that was a legit fight that they had. I didn't love the whole sort of he confesses and they're like, I'm going to kill you anyway. And then everybody's just like, oh, well, we feel good about this. Let's move on.
Yeah. And then
there was
let's go cry under the tree together
about ourselves.
Yeah.
And then you've got Osha, even after she kills Soul, she's like, let's just go tell the Jedi what happened and they'll understand.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Like what was Basil? Okay, now the space thing was pretty cool where they were in the middle of the
that was
Marines.
very cool.
That was beautiful.
There was a lot of great visual effects.
Yeah, so it's like they saved it for this one. Yeah. I
Maybe.
don't really understand Basil's motivation at all. Like at one point, Saul's chasing, is it May? And by the way, May looked terrible with that little helmet on her
yes,
head.
It was like hold on, I'll do my May impersonation.
It was like up here on the
right.
Hey doggy.
Is that Basil?
But then Basil's like sabotaging his ship.
He sabotages the ship.
Who's he? I don't know whose side he's on. I don't know anything. What is Basil? I don't know.
There's no point in anything that guy does.
I'm not sure.
Ingredient.
Yeah. He's a bad player. I don't know. I mean,
so I think it was supposed to be like a moral thing for Basil, where he saw that this Jedi was trying to kill this girl,
maybe,
and so he has to sabotage the ship. And but I just
fair enough. I don't.
They needed a way to get back down there as well, but still.
Oh, and then her ship would have exploded the way it landed.
I know.
I was like, that's not how ships. That's not
let out a chuckle and moved on.
I know. I was like, that's not the way. Don't they have fuel in these planes? Maybe not. Maybe
right. I don't.
Maybe they're clean energy, so we don't have to worry about that.
Coaxium.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Amanda Steinberg. I don't know. Maybe she had a little better emotion in this one, but not much. I mean, it's
not much.
She's kind of stone faced through everything, and it's just her choices, acting wise.
So a lot of times,
she's just like, "I'm going to choke you." Okay, well, you're dead. Okay, well, I will cry with my sister.
So a lot of times, from the standpoint of what's going on with an actor's face and demeanor and whatnot, I mean, she's being directed that way. I would think.
I mean, she was good in Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I liked her in that.
Right. I mean, I think. Right, Tracy. No, Tracy's right. I mean, just more heavy breathing. I mean, she's not wrong. Yeah. I mean, it's just.
I would.
Yeah.
If we're going for the Bodies, Bodies, Bodies cast, I would take Rachel Sennett over.
Oh well, no, for sure.
We know Garrison.
I agree with that too. I do agree.
I mean, it's just I'm so frustrated about the outcome of everything in this, and it just did not feel Star Wars to me.
That's
like
fair.
I alluded to, it felt more like you're watching Twilight or something. I mean, it was just all very, everyone in their feels about everything. Even Saul was in his feels all the time, and that's not something that up to this point that we have seen a Jedi be so like in their feels all the time,
right?
And he was just that way. And even like when
he's emotional,
when he's about to be murdered, he tells Osha, "It's okay, you can go ahead and do this." Like I understand by you killing me, you're going to end up being, tapping into the dark side. Maybe not a Sith just yet, but you're going to be tapping into the dark side to kill me. It's okay. Like go for live your truth. I mean, that's what this whole stupid series was. There was too much too much of somebody's own worldview was placed into Star Wars. And I don't like it.
I had a problem at the end when they're trying to make you empathize with these Sith at this point. I'm like, once she's killed him and she's crying, I'm like, I don't feel
right. Yeah,
I hate y'all anyway. It doesn't matter. You're going with evil. I'm not gonna pull for you.
And that's the problem. What Leslie Headland knows, and what a lot of creators of her ilk know, is that the people that watch her stuff are into evil, are into like evil junk. I mean, into like into moral ambiguity, into like, oh, this bad guy's not really that bad from a certain point of view. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I don't want that in my Star Wars.
Maybe she wanted us, the people who think of Star Wars in a certain kind of fixed way, to struggle with these questions.
And that's okay, I guess. But,
I just felt that they served their own justice, their own, like she killed a Jedi in cold blood, just like justifiably maybe, but shouldn't like there have been like a jury of your peers to make that decision, or you know what I mean? It was just
no, it was just like Well, sorry, Brian. I don't mean to cut you off.
No. That's all I had.
And I like the effort. I don't know if it lands, but I like the effort of the government questioning the Jedi. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. I mean, because I agree that you shouldn't just let some godlike entity like the Jedi make themselves to be just do whatever they want to all the time. I kind of like the dialogue.
David Harewood.
When Harewood was going through his soliloquy about unchecked power, you're doing you feel like you can do whatever you want to all the time.
What's the line about the heroes?
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I mean, yes, that would happen. Like if a superhero was in front of you and they were always getting to do whatever they want to, of course the government would be like, now wait a minute, this unchecked power needs to be reined in.
Civil War.
Sokovia Accords. I like the conflict there.
The journalist movie, but
right. I think the conflict there works. I don't know if they landed it like right on 100%, but I think the conflict there works. I mean, because if you think about it from a Star Wars standpoint, that's how we eventually get to Palpatine being the head of the government, basically, being able to tell the Jedi what he wants them to do all the time.
Unlimited power.
Go on these, more as Palpatine, not Sidious, but as Palpatine being the head of the government, being able to tell the Jedi, here's this mission I want you to go on. I want you to lead this army. I want you to do this. I mean, we're getting to that point. So yes, from a timeline standpoint, it does make sense that the government's trying to interject themselves into the Jedi's, religion or whatever. But, so I see what I see what Leslie's trying to do with that, and I'm okay with that stuff. It's just that her main characters I just don't care about is the problem. Like I don't care about Ocean.
Very poorly executed.
I don't care about Ocean May. I don't care about Ocean May. I don't care about the Stranger. It was neat to see Pelagus for a second, I guess. But what are we going to do with that?
She created a side character that was way more intriguing and tried to destroy him. But at the end of the day, I still care way more about Soul than I ever did about anybody else.
I care
about
about
because that actor's so good. I think.
I think that helped certainly, and he was. I didn't love Soul in the end of this though. I think that every decision that he made,
they undercut him. Yeah.
But that's how they wrote him.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I didn't love the character I liked the character through most of the series until this last episode. It's okay that you're becoming a Sith. It's all good. You may kill me. It's fine.
No, they wanted to tear him down in front of your eyes. I mean, that was the whole
that's
point.
The purpose.
I said this from the beginning. That was the point of Soul.
The whole point of this
when they were talking about the darkness that he was hiding.
So he was clearly a broken man, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, but really, and I'm not I don't care that he killed all those witches. I don't care that all those witches died. I don't care, they're evil. Kill them all. I don't care. But we're supposed to
not how
feel,
we see that.
I know,
Michael.
The
mother was like, I was going to let you
Mother
take
Anastasia,
Osha. After she was about to turn into this beast to kill him.
I mean,
and absorb.
She was disapparating in front of him along with May, or whichever one it was at the time.
It was May.
It was May.
Sorry,
because Osha was locked.
Osha was behind the door.
Yeah.
So apparently
being burnt to death.
Even though it was somewhat ambiguous, apparently Coral is still alive. So we are apparently supposed to know that she's still alive. And
Mother Coral?
Yeah, Mother Coral, whatever.
Okay.
She went back to Dathomir, apparently. I think like Leslie Headland said that in an interview.
Wow.
That she's
in the DK book.
Right, exactly. Like, is that's going to be in some comic book, or I mean, I don't know. I mean,
see, how
where
are we
was
supposed to know that? Like, why didn't they show that?
Why didn't they show that?
It would have been super interesting. I mean, like,
so much not revealed in this movie.
Yeah,
in the show, yeah. Some of it. I mean, even though they had 8 episodes to reveal all that, but yeah, I mean, I thought through most of the series that she died with the other witches. But apparently she's not dead. Apparently she
was the purpose of the mind wipe at the end? Like they said, is it because
so the Jedi couldn't track them down?
Right.
Oh, so they wouldn't be able to like use their techniques to if they wiped her. Okay, that's fair.
And that's apparently a power that was in some EU book or some maybe High Republic or something, which isn't EU. But I mean, although this is the first time we've seen this power on film.
So I don't even remember, like Garrison, you watched it just a few minutes ago. What happens to her after her mind is wiped? Where do they send her off to?
They're repeating the poetry at each other, basically, and she's not able to repeat the poetry.
Right.
The Jedi take her in,
even though she can start the beginning of the sentences. She just can't finish the end of the sentences, which tells me that there's still fragments there of her memory.
Yeah. Well, and if you had a season 2,
yes, and I'm sure that would be explored.
Because she's on Coruscant with the Jedi.
She is, she's on Coruscant.
She's
Venestra gets her in a room and is like, we failed you. The Jedi failed you.
That's
we want to track down Quimir, basically.
We want to pay you 500,000 credits a week. We're sorry. Reparation.
But no, yeah.
And then she goes, sister, and you see her go, sister, and she goes, oh,
yeah.
Like I'm like Venestra wouldn't make that big of a mistake. I'm like a
lot of the Jedi just I don't know. There's a lot of
she's like sitting there like, oh yeah, I'm happy to be here, and she's like, yeah, blah 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 something your sister, and she's like, sister, and she's like, so in the second season, here's the excitement of it.
No, stop.
Her mind's gonna wake back up, and she's gonna realize that Jedi are all evil.
I want her to fathom there being a second season of this.
Why is Venestra covering any of this up though? So they're making Saul look like he did all of the killing, that he lost his mind, he snapped, he killed all those other team members. So she's trying to hide it as well.
She's just lying. Yeah,
she's just evil.
She's lying, but she. I think they're trying to frame it. I know that they want to frame some sort of darkness with her, but I think that they're trying to frame it as like a Harvey Dent lie at the end of The Dark Knight, where she's like, the lie is for the betterment of society. It's better if he killed himself than if we say The Sith are running around right now.
Right. And we do find out that Quimir was her apprentice. I mean, was her Padawan. I mean, we find that out in this episode, so that was pretty interesting.
So I think this is I think if they continue the story, this is a very personal thing for her, where she is trying to, on her own, go out and take Quimir down.
Right. I mean, that's why when she's being sort of lambasted by the guy from the government or whatever,
the Senate,
the Senate, that she's like, we've almost got this figured out. Just give me a few more days. We're almost there in figuring this whole thing out.
Yeah.
Just before you take this, before the full Senate, just give me some time. And so that's why at the end of the episode, after all hell breaks loose, the Senate is there. The whole Senate is there. Just like, we're going to have to take some control here.
We're shutting this down.
We're shutting this whole thing down.
I mean, I like that actor. He's really good.
Yeah, no, he's look. He was good. He was good. And that's the one thing that I was okay with, kind of like the Senate kind of like feeling like they need to get these Jedi in check, because these particular Jedi that they're dealing with seem to be all over the place, which they
got to bring the leader of that Jedi in and say, what's up with the sloped roof over here?
We have a congressional hearing.
That's right. We got a hearing with the Senate.
We need you to resign.
Yeah, that's right. Step down, Venestra. You have bungled this operation.
Yeah.
Hey, exactly. At least Jackie's going to be in another thing coming up, so that's cool.
Stop. Yes, you're right.
Who?
She's in the trailer.
Daphne Keene. Yeah. Not everybody watches the trailers. Some people try and be unspoiled for things. True. But that's not technically a spoiler, because Marvel released the trailer, so it's not technically a spoiler, but some people do try and remain,
I don't know what y'all are talking about.
See?
That's fine.
Dr. Boredom doesn't know what you're talking about.
I do know, and I'm hoping my boredom will be lifted on Thursday when we go.
Yes, I think it will be. I think the boredom will be very much lifted on Thursday.
From what I've heard, it just sounds like if you're going in there for a fun time, it's a fun time.
It's like,
but if you don't like Deadpool movies, you're probably not going to like this movie. Which makes sense.
Don't go see it then if you don't like it. No,
yeah, exactly.
Always try things, but you're probably not going to like it.
I love the TVA, so I think this will be a good hit for me. Right?
There you go.
I was surprised. I saw some clip with it. Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
exactly.
We don't want to spoil it for anybody. Let's
back to the Acolyte and wrapping this up completely.
Let's rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. Where would you put?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm never going to watch it again. So I mean,
that's not a number, Michael.
That's pretty low. I mean, I've just never. Now
there's some good production value. There's some good fights.
Sure.
Soul is good.
The fights were good. I will say that.
I'd probably give it a 5. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think it's fair. If I'm ranking it,
I'll go 4.0
with the Disney Plus Star Wars shows. It is my lowest, really. I mean, I can't think of anything like Book of Boba Fett's not great either, but I had a lot of fun with Book of Boba Fett. There was some really fun stuff in that.
Yeah.
Boba Fett freaking riding a Rancor. I mean,
hey, come on, man.
Come on now.
You got a guy spinning, a mod spinning.
I still think this is and even below for me, Mando season 3. I mean, because there was at least some.
Oh sure.
I don't know. There's
Mando season 3's got some episodes that are pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and look, this series has some good episodes in it, and the production value, like you said, Garrison, was good. But ultimately, I didn't care about what happened to any of the characters.
I think those good episodes happen very early on and don't really continue after that. But that's just my opinion.
In what?
Acolyte.
In Acolyte, yeah. Well, this last episode was good too. I mean, as far as production is concerned. I mean, the last episode.
Yeah, the asteroid belt scene.
Yeah, I mean, there was some.
It was as good as Empire, but no, I can't.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I feel like this all was in production before Iger got there. They had already spent all the money.
Oh, it was.
They'd already spent all. Yeah, no. This show was getting done.
It's like the last product of the.
There were a bunch of idiots.
Fiscally irresponsible.
There were a bunch of idiots who thought Iger was going to never release this show though because it was so bad or something. But that was never.
They spent too much money on it. They got to.
Well,
yeah, they're always going to release those things, even if they're once you've put it in the can.
Well, they were like, oh, he'll use this as a tax write-off. And I'm like, no, this show's getting released.
We could only be lucky. So lucky.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, Mecha Yoda, where are you tonight? Are you far away?
Oh, I'm at an undisclosed location.
I know where he is. He told us in the pre-show. You won't be able to
see if I'd shown up. Oh, wait.
That's a Hilton. Is that a Hilton Garden Inn?
No. You have the brand right, but
is that a Scottish Inn?
Scottish.
Do they even have those anymore? I don't think.
The Howard Johnsons.
Yeah.
The Hojo.
I've been smoking in the room. It's all good.
That's hilarious. So yeah, I mean, look, if there is an Acolyte season 2, I'll watch it. I'm a glutton for punishment when it comes to Star Wars and Marvel.
Darth Plagueis. I'm gonna clap. I clapped my hands when I saw. No, I didn't.
I thought that was pretty cool. We finally get to see. Yeah,
he was like, but it was only for like a millisecond, and you have to like adjust the screen resolution to even see his face. Turn the
4K
all the way
4K up. OLED. It was perfect.
It was perfectly good, huh?
See, not all of us have OLED.
Yeah, we don't all have the fancy.
That ends the Acolyte for us. So we'll see if there's a season 2. Thus ends the Acolyte. Look, we'll see if there's a season 2. They could roll some of these characters into something else and it not technically be an Acolyte season 2. So we'll see.
Like,
I mean,
I wouldn't have cared if we'd had a High Republic show where they're heroic adventures. You know what I mean? Like I would. I mean, this isn't.
Give me my geode show.
Let's have a geode and Venestra with her whip light.
I want to see the great hyperspace destruction.
Starlight Tower blowing up or whatever it was called. Yeah,
I would much rather watch a disaster movie than the disaster that the Acolyte was.
Right. I feel you. Nice. I feel you. As far as what we're going to be doing on Extra for the next couple weeks at least, we've got a plan. We are going to do a roundtable on Deadpool and Wolverine next Tuesday, so that'll be exciting. And then for the season finale of House of Dragon, we're basically going to do a roundtable for House of Dragon since the season finale is in a couple weeks. So we'll do a roundtable episode. Yeah, you got a couple weeks. It's worth watching. It's a good show. And then after that, we're kind of in the wind for a while until really Agatha comes out and maybe
September
Penguin.
18th.
Yeah, maybe Penguin, but that's not to say that we won't come back and maybe do some quick 30-minute episodes of How Did We Extra this week, because we can do longer conversations on that stuff. So we might do that. That way we've got content coming out. So anyways, Brian and Dr. Earl are off the grid. They are difficult to be found except
cannot be found.
Except if you are an exclusive member of our Discord server, which we lovingly call the Deucecord. If you are watching this live or in the future and you are interested in being a part of our Discord server, you can always email me at thedeucecast@gmail.com and I can send you a link to said Discord server in which we discuss film, television, sports, music, food, and everything in between is discussed in there.
And your monthly dues can be sent to my Venmo to stay in the Discord, of course.
You can
got to pay for that physical media somehow.
You can send directly to Garrison. Now, Garrison is on the grid. Where can people find you, Garrison?
You can find me on Twitter at GRyfun3, GRYFUN3, Instagram as well. You can find me on Letterboxd at GRyfun, GRYFUN. Where I am one movie away from finishing my Fox rewatch. I wish I lived in your time zone because I'd totally start the New Mutants right now. But I do not.
You got to go to bed. You got to go to bed.
It's late. It's late. It's late. I understand.
My last day of work before I take off for vacation. So
yeah, right on. I am at the Michael Nip on X, and I can also be found on Letterboxd chronicling what movies I have watched. As of late, I have watched Twisters and Titanic, and I did watch Love Lies Bleeding. Interesting film. Interesting film. Anyways, we will be back next week triumphantly to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. Very much looking forward to that conversation. We may have some extra people on, like perhaps Rhett might make an appearance. We haven't seen him in a while, and I know he will be interested in talking about that film. And maybe even Dave, who is my podcast partner with Dr. Earl. We release podcast episodes separate from this content every single Wednesday. We've been doing that for like 15 years. Tomorrow's episode, yeah, it's been almost 15 years.
Wow.
Tomorrow's episode is all about action films with friend of the show, Aussie Nate. It was a fun episode to record.
It was.
If you wait till after the episode, you might get some hot shark talk. There's some hot shark talk probably in the stinger. So just if you want to wait till after the episode ends, or if you just want to listen to the shark talk, just go straight to the stinger. I mean, that's the beauty of podcasts. The podcasts, you can fast forward them though. You don't have to listen to the whole thing if you don't want to.
I just fast forward to the intro, which is about 12 minutes. But
the intro,
yeah,
that's surprisingly that's been cut down though. Surprisingly, that has been cut down.
Has it?
He took out the like Blu-ray thing. The Blu-ray thing. Remember the Blu-ray thing was in there for a while?
It's not that long.
So now it's just a trailer and our intro song, and boom, into the episode.
The trailer is the longest part.
It is. But look, I let the man cook. I'm not a part of that. I let the man cook. Let the man have his trailer stuff. It's all good. Appreciate everybody that was hanging out in the live stream. Tracy, thanks for stopping by. Andrew, thank you for stopping by the last few seconds.
Oh,
yes, at the end. You missed all of our hot Acolyte talk. I'm sorry. Thank you, Andrew. And as always, if you do catch the replay, you can always leave a comment. Tell a friend, like, subscribe, mash the bell, all that stuff that will help us on the YouTubes, especially now since we no longer can stream live on X, because I am not paying Premium X. So we will hopefully figure out maybe how to stream on Facebook also. I think they allow that. So if I have my passcodes, I can maybe finish.
We can go live on TikTok. We can do that.
I don't do TikTok. Oh, look, Garrison, look right here. He's ready. Oh, look at this.
Oh.
Look at that.
I said, "Hey, son."
That's not really his dad, guys. It's a
joke. It's just a joke.
I've had this shirt for months, and I've been meaning to wear it on the Extra at some point. And I was like, "This is like the best week.
This is the perfect week to wear it." Well, thank you guys. Thank Brian, Earl, Garrison. I missed Roth tonight. I, was hoping that he'd be able to join us, but he obviously is busy. So that was a bummer. I will talk to you guys next week for Deadpool and Wolverine, whoever can join us at that time. Until then, we're out of here.